Let's cut to the chase. Number 8. Finishing everything on your plate. You've probably been told since you were a kid to clean your plate. It's the ultimate sign of respect for the cook, right? You're showing them you loved the meal so much you couldn't bear to leave a single crumb behind. Your mom praised you for it, your friends see it as a compliment to their cooking, and in your mind, it's a universal symbol for delicious. That's a lovely thought, but in some parts of the world it's basically like telling your host, nice appetizer. Now, where's the actual meal? In countries like China, the Philippines, or parts of North Africa, leaving your plate sparkling clean sends a signal that your host was a terrible provider. It implies they didn't give you enough food, that you're still starving, and that their generosity was, frankly, a bit pathetic. Your clean plate isn't a compliment. It's a passive-aggressive complaint that they failed at their hosting duties. The polite thing to do is to leave a small amount of food on your plate. It's the cultural equivalent of unbuttoning your pants a little and saying, I am so full, I physically cannot continue. You have defeated my hunger. The myth of the clean plate being universally polite likely comes from post-war rationing in the West, where wasting food was seen as a major sin. That frugality got reframed as politeness, but it never translated to cultures where abundance and overwhelming generosity are the cornerstones of hospitality. Number 7. The peace sign. You flash it in photos at concerts when you're leaving a room. The two-fingered V sign is your go-to gesture for saying peace, victory, or just a general what's up. It's the friendly, harmless emoji of hand signals. You've seen everyone from Winston Churchill to John Lennon use it, so it has to be safe, right? Well, that depends entirely on which way your palm is facing. Present that same gesture with the back of your hand facing outward in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Australia, or South Africa, and you've just stopped saying peace and love and started saying something you definitely wouldn't say to your grandma. It's the direct equivalent of flipping the bird. It's basically your hand's evil twin. Think of it like your phone's autocorrect. You meant to type, "See you soon, ducks," but it came out as something far, far worse. The gesture's origins as an insult are murky, but the most popular story claims it dates back to the 100 Years' War. English archers would taunt the French by showing them their two bow-drawing fingers, a sign that they were still able to fight. The French, in turn, would supposedly cut off those two fingers from captured archers. So showing them was a bold act of defiance. Whether that's true or not, what matters is that if you flash an inward-facing V sign to a Brit, they're not seeing a hippie, they're seeing a declaration of war. Number 6. Using your left hand. You're a righty. You're a lefty. Who cares? You've got two hands, and you use them. You hand someone a gift, pass the salt, or accept a business card with whichever hand is free. It's just a limb, a tool for grabbing things. To you, insisting on one hand over the other seems inefficient, maybe even a little weird. But in huge swaths of the world, including most of the Middle East, India, and parts of Africa, you might as well have just handed them a dirty sock. Using your left hand to give or receive anything, especially food or a gift, is a serious insult. That's because the left hand is traditionally considered the unclean hand. It's the one reserved for, let's say, personal and bathroom-related hygiene. So when you offer a present with that hand, you are metaphorically tainting the gift and disrespecting the recipient. It's like a surgeon trying to operate with a hand they just used to unclog a toilet. The separation is absolute. The origin is purely practical. Before the widespread availability of toilet paper and modern plumbing, the one hand for this, one hand for that rule was a critical matter of public health. That practical rule became deeply embedded in the culture as a symbol of respect and cleanliness, and it remains a massive deal today. So, keep that left hand to yourself, unless you want your kind gesture to be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Number 5. The come here finger curl. You need to get someone's attention from across the room. What do? You stick out your index finger, curl it towards you a couple of times, and they know you want them to come over. It's simple, effective, and you've been doing it your whole life without a second thought. It's the universal, non-verbal way to say, "Hey you, over here." That's completely wrong. Use that gesture in many Asian and Pacific countries, most notoriously the Philippines, and you've just committed a major social foul that could, in the worst-case scenario, actually get you arrested. In those cultures, that specific finger-curling motion is used exclusively for calling dogs. Using it on a person is incredibly demeaning. You're essentially telling them they are a lesser being, an animal to be beckoned. It's like whistling at a CEO to get their attention in a board meeting. The gesture is so offensive in the Philippines that it's literally against the law and can result in a fine or even jail time. The polite way to gesture for someone to come to you in many of these cultures is to extend your arm, palm down, and make a gentle fluttering or scratching motion with all your fingers. So why do we see it as normal? It's just one of those gestures that developed without any specific backstory. It's a lazy, shorthand motion that became common in the West. But what's lazy and common for you is a profound insult to a billion other people. Number 4, putting your feet up. You've had a long day. You get to your friend's house, sink into their couch, and prop your feet up on the coffee table. You might even cross one leg over the other, pointing the sole of your shoe to the side. It's a sign of relaxation, of being comfortable and at ease in someone's presence. You're treating their home like your own. What could be more complimentary than that? Well, if you're in most of the Arab world, or many Hindu and Buddhist cultures, you've just committed an act of supreme disrespect. By showing someone the sole of your foot or shoe, you are sending a very clear message. You are dirt. You are lower than the filth I walk on every day. In these cultures, the feet are considered the lowliest and dirtiest part of the body, and showing the sole to someone is the ultimate insult. Remember when that Iraqi journalist threw his shoes at President George W. Bush? He wasn't just trying to hit him, he was using the most insulting object he had to make a powerful political statement. Flashing your shoe sole at your host is the nonverbal equivalent of spitting in their face. This belief has ancient roots, tied to the physical reality of dusty, unpaved lands and the spiritual concept of a hierarchy from the lowly feet to the sacred head. In the West, we just don't have that deep-seated cultural symbolism. For us, feet are just feet, and comfort is king. Number 3, patting a child on the head. You see an adorable little kid, and your first instinct is to give them a friendly, gentle pat on the head. It's an almost universal gesture of affection in Western culture. It says, "You're a good kid," or "Aw, how cute." You're being warm, paternal, and friendly. You're building a bridge of positive human connection. That bridge you think you're building? In Thailand, and many other Buddhist cultures in Southeast Asia, you just drove a bulldozer straight through their most sacred temple. Stop. Touching someone on the head is a massive taboo. The head is considered the highest and most sacred part of the body, the literal seat of the soul and consciousness. To touch it, especially if you're a stranger, is to violate their spiritual essence. It's invasive, disrespectful, and deeply unsettling. Think of it this way. Patting a child's head in Bangkok is like walking up to a devout Christian and casually dipping your fingers in their holy water to wash your hands. You're taking something they consider profoundly sacred and treating it with clueless, casual disrespect. The reason it's so normal for you is that Western culture is largely secularized and doesn't imbue body parts with that same level of spiritual significance. For you, it's a cute gesture. For them, it's a spiritual home invasion. Number 2, the thumbs up. This has to be the safest gesture in the world, right? It's the universal sign for awesome, great job, and I approve. From Roman gladiators sparing a life, or so the movies tell us, to pilots signaling they were ready for takeoff, to just letting your friend know you're good with their choice of restaurant, the thumbs up is your reliable, go-to positive signal. It's so universal, social media is built around it. That like button is actually a declaration of war in some places. Flash a thumbs up in parts of the Middle East, particularly Iran, or in places like West Africa and Greece, and you haven't said awesome. You've just used the aggressive, vulgar equivalent of the middle finger. The gesture there carries a meaning that is, let's just say, anatomically insulting. You're not giving a compliment. You're telling someone to go do something that is physically impossible and deeply offensive. The popular myth about its positive origin from Roman times is now largely believed to be false by historians, who think the gesture was more likely a thumb-to-the-throat motion for death. The positive meaning was popularized much later, especially by American culture in the 20th century. So when you give that cheerful thumbs up, you're basically playing cultural roulette. You're betting that your American movie-based understanding of the gesture will land, when in reality, it could be the most offensive thing you do all day. Number 1, the OK sign. You've done it 1,000 times. You're trying to communicate through a window or across a loud room, or even underwater while scuba diving. You touch your thumb and index finger together to form a circle, raising the other 3 fingers. It's the simplest, clearest way to say, okay, perfect, I'm all good. It's a gesture of pure, unambiguous positivity. It's so harmless that it's literally used to check if a baby can grasp things. This harmless little gesture is, in several major countries, one of the most obscene signals you can possibly make. It is not your friend. In places like Brazil, Turkey, Greece, and parts of the Middle East, the OK sign is a vulgar insult. It's not a symbol for the word okay. It's a crude, graphic depiction of a bodily orifice. By making that sign at someone, you are calling them an asshole or using a deeply offensive homophobic slur. It's the equivalent of giving someone two middle fingers at once. This isn't a minor misunderstanding, it's a direct and potent insult. Former U.S. President Richard Nixon famously learned this the hard way when he exited his plane in Brazil and flashed the OK sign to the waiting crowd, who responded with stunned silence and boos. He thought he was saying, "Everything's great," but the entire country heard him say something wildly offensive. The American origin of the sign is believed to be from a fad in the 1830s for comical abbreviations, where OK stood for all correct, a joking misspelling of all correct. The hand sign likely formed the O. That quirky, innocent history means absolutely nothing when you're unintentionally using it to insult a whole culture. It's the ultimate example of how your friendly gesture can be someone else's declaration of contempt. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.